Welcome to the Fearless Entrepreneurs Podcast, where we share the incredible stories of Canada's boldest business owners. I'm your host, Cindy Chang, founder of Evolve Consulting Co. Join us as we explore the stories behind why these entrepreneurs started their businesses, the challenges that they faced, and how they leaned into their fears. So whether you're an entrepreneur or just love inspiring stories, let's take a deep dive into their journeys. Let's go. Welcome, Barry MacDonald, to the show. The man, the myth, the legend. He is here. I'm really excited to have you here on the show. You and I have known each other for a really long time. And for those who don't know, Barry is a serial entrepreneur who's built and exited multiple successful businesses. And at age 16, Barry found himself in charge of delivering government contracts for Lockheed Martin, NASA, and Skunk Works, honing his problem-solving skills early on. By 19, he was already making waves in the entertainment industry, learning high-pressure sales, marketing, management, while expanding a franchise across the US, Canada, London, UK. During the 2008 financial crisis, Barry pivoted and co-founded Canadian company 3D Light Effects, creating innovative night lights that secured licenses from Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and skyrocketed to over $25 million in global sales in 2015. Just 1 year. After exiting in 2018, Barry launched Concept2Solution, helping startups and small businesses make a big impact with creative marketing solutions. His journey didn't stop there. In 2021, Barry's entrepreneurial spirit led him to partner with a construction company now developing a 230-acre cottage resort in Calabogie, Ontario. Barry's mantra is never saying no and always providing value first. Welcome to the show, Barry.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
My goodness. So hearing that back, how does that make you feel?
Exciting, a little exhausting.
Tell people why this is exhausting.
Well, it's funny because my mantra being never saying no, value first. You find yourself in a variety of industries with different opportunities that maybe weren't on your radar to start with. But I say exhausting and just, like, it's awesome. It's exciting. I love really always keeping your mind and your peripheral open because you never know which opportunities are going to parlay themselves into the next, right? Yeah. The opportunity to develop Elevate Bluffs in Calabogie came from purchasing a home and developing a relationship with the builder. And it parlayed itself, to creating a resort.
That's a crazy story, Barry, and expand on that a little bit because that was really fascinating. You didn't come from a real estate development background. You didn't come from a construction background. You didn't come from a project management background. And yet you are one of the executives for Elevate Bluffs. So how did you fall into that?
Yeah, I think when you look at the evolution of a person in their career, sometimes we have blinders. We feel like we've been given a task or we've been given an opportunity or a directive in terms of how we need to provide value in a business. For me, I ask a lot of questions. I'm always listening. I'm always diving into what's going on around me. We moved to Ottawa for a short stint with my family, and we were looking to purchase a home. We started working with a developer to build a custom home. And in doing that, I wanted to understand what was going on with the business, what's going into the house, who is my builder, asking questions that maybe were not in the grand scheme of things for me to understand, but I wanted to be involved for whatever reason. And so I started showing up to the job site every day. What's going on? What's the progress? What are we doing? And the builder finally said, listen, if you're going to be here this much, you build the house. Enough already.
Yeah.
And so I did. I jumped into the operations of the business. I started refining processes for my own house and then subsequently 10 other houses after that in the subdivision.
Wow.
And then after finishing that, he said, listen, let's keep going.
Yeah.
We developed a great working relationship. And a lot of that came from providing value first. I wasn't looking for a job.
Yeah.
I was looking to improve the execution of my own house, then just diving into how things can be refined and changed and providing value to him for a future. And that's, for me, how I approach every opportunity.
And that's really where most of your career has progressed is it's in a very organic kind of way.
Completely.
And so take us back to that first journey for you when you were 16 years old. How did that career find you?
Yeah, I grew up in a small town in California. At 16, my friends and I were looking for something to do during the summer, and we started working for a man who came from the movie industry. He used to create special effects and props. He got connected with the government when the government was developing the X program, which was unmanned space vehicles, specifically NASA and Lockheed Martin. And he started creating display models for government funding, be able to go out there and sell what Lockheed Martin was developing. They wanted to sell it to the government and get the funding. So we had to create display models. And so I started working, we were doing fiberglass and casting and urethane and all these things that I'd never done before, but got versed in it and learned a little bit over the summer. And that was a few summers in a row. It was our gig that we did. And he actually went through some stuff with his family and wasn't able to fulfill the government contracts. So being that I'd been there for a bit and learning from him as a bit of a mentor, if you will, and learning about the business and how things need to be executed, I finished the rest of the contracts and delivered them to the Air Force bases, and it's crazy.
And how big was his team at that time?
It was a small team. It was 6 or 7 people.
Okay.
If you count in the seasonal workers through the summer.
Yeah. So it was like you and 6 or 7 other people. And, you know, stuff happened with his family. And he's like, Barry, at 16 years old, take over the contracts.
I think it just happened organically, right? He was like, I don't know how I'm going to finish this. What am I going to do? And for me, being entrepreneurial driven, being a very focused mindset, I can do anything, right? I just said I can do it. Sure. There was no reason to believe that I couldn't do it.
Right.
I've adopted that in every aspect of life and business going forward. It was a great kind of test bed for me to say, okay, wow, I'm going to take this on. It's a huge deal. I had a responsibility to my quote-unquote mentor who needed me to step in. So I stepped in and took care of it.
And at 16, you were working with some of the biggest companies in the U.S.
Aerospace industry,
Aerospace industry at 16 years old.
Very.
So where did you feel like this entrepreneurial spirit came from? What were you like as a child? Because that's very scary at 16.
I think what's interesting is growing up in a small town in California, there's a ton of opportunity, but we also grew up in a different time, right? Where we had a lot more freedom to try different things. Our kids today are a little bit more sheltered and held close to the vest, if you will. I had the opportunity to go out there and just experience things and find what really drove me. At the end of the day, the sales, commerce, understanding customers, understanding people, being a doer, and helping people was really what became my passion. Even today, helping people is my ultimate goal.
That is very true for you. I've worked with Barry through multiple businesses now. We've partnered in a lot of different things, but that's not normal, Barry. That's not normal. To be a child and interested in commerce, I've never heard anyone say that before.
Listen, when you're 16 years old, you either make money for yourself or your parents give you money.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to have whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to just buy it.
So then after your contract with your mentor within the aerospace industry, what happened after that?
So that's when I had an opportunity with the franchise in the entertainment industry. So I started at 19 years old. Again, went from one mentor to another. And it was a global business that was really predicated on people. It was a people business. And the sales aspect of it ignited the competition in you, the incentivized, like the money. Why not? And then the operational aspect kind of stepped in because as I grew very quickly within that corporation, at one point being in passing and joking like the future franchise owner. That was my goal. I wanted to own it. I wanted it to be mine. Driving myself to really learn all aspects of the business, really getting an understanding of marketing and operations, travel. There was so many different things of that business that I was able to take and parlay to my own businesses, but also help other people in the future. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. And so you're 19 years old at this point. That's where Barry and I met. This is where we really learned high pressure sales. This is where we worked 7 days a week, 14-hour days. We learned about advertising, marketing, operational, travel. We were traveling, so I remember there were times where we were in airport 3 times a week minimum. And I would wake up and be like, what city am I in?
Yeah.
That's where Barry and I met. And so tell us what that experience was really like for you.
Well, if I take a step back, reference the experience from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Many mentors over the course of my career that have really shaped my perspective. Now, with mentors, you don't get everything from one. You get to pick the best parts of each. And so one of the interesting things about this mentor that I had initially in this company was I started the first couple of months, started making an impact. I'm from a small town in Ventura, California. LA is 2 hours away, but it's a whole different lifestyle. We started doing well. I started showing that I had that initiative, that drive to excel within the business. We hop into his convertible Mercedes. We drive down to Beverly Hills. Fits me up in a Gucci suit. And on the way home, I see where this is going, right? I understand that if you work hard, there are incentives. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, the harder I work, the more incentives there are. Here's how we can start to frame what I'm going to get from this company. Not probably one of the best learning moments in terms of how you want to manage somebody, but he said, I want you to spend all your money on Gucci, Mercedes, everything like that. I want you to be hungry, always for money. Again, not recommending you go into debt every 5 seconds in order to drive yourself.
Very American.
I know.
Barry is Canadian now, by the way. So he fits into the podcast still because there are Canadian businesses to come, but that is such an American mentality. You have that dangling carrot. You keep reaching for it. You keep reaching for it. Yep. So that was with the entertainment company.
That was it. Okay. Yeah. Relationship evolved, and we grew the business to 18 locations around the world. We were doing $13 to $20 million a month at the height of it. And it was exciting. I moved to Miami. I moved to Washington, D.C. I got to experience a lot of opportunities. But in doing that, really getting an understanding of how to manage people, how to manage process, how to continue to grow the business. And the growth of the business was really predicated on the engagement with consumers.
Yeah.
How is the marketing working? How are we driving advertising? How are we bringing bodies in the door? Understanding the marketing works different in the US versus Canada versus London, and really getting a grasp of breaking down the consumer you're trying to reach. Yeah. And this is what I drew from that experience more than anything else, right? Yeah. Because you're really diving into the psyche of who your consumer is, who you're trying to engage with your product. And then evolving the product along the way, evolving the product to the market, evolving the industry, evolving the product to the evolution of the industry. So many businesses that I've experienced and worked with along the way get stuck. They've got their product line, and this is what we offer. And as the world evolves and changes around them, if you're not nimble enough, you lose out on opportunity. I think that's the one thing I gained the most from that, is just being fluid. Absolutely.
And then diving into that marketing consumer mind, I think, is something that's so, because you really take your time to understand the consumers. You've dealt with a very high volume of consumers, and let's just stop and take a minute. $13 to $20 million a month in revenue. That's insane. Yeah. Right. And that's the high pressure environment that you don't just produce 13 to 20 million a month without it being very high pressure. Oh, for right? Sure. 100%. Yeah. And that's where I believe we learned the school of hard knocks for sales. Continue to tell us about your journey within the entertainment industry, and then what came next.
So I think, just to go back and touch on that point, yes, the pressure to hit the revenue dollars are there. We found our most success when our focus was to improve the experience of the consumer. When we were sales first, revenue first, business perspective, I get it. But when you're driven to improve the product to a point where the consumer wants to talk about it, share it, be your best referral process, be your best salespeople for you, bringing you new clients. We did the best when that was the main focus. That industry was exciting, but had its ups and downs through financial crisis, because at the end of the day, it was a luxury item. Yeah. Those are things that we had to fight and balance as well. It also gave me a lot of freedom time-wise to expand out and have other businesses on my own. So it was great because I could take what I was learning from that industry and from that sales process and the operational process, and parlay that into digital marketing and the lighting company, and being able to evolve through that. And so after being with that company for close to 18 years, I decided to move to Canada because I met a Canadian girl.
Yes.
So we moved to Canada and started a family, and that industry was difficult to have a family in because of travel.
Yes.
If you're always on the road, it makes it really tough. There was a good portion of time there that we were on the road from Friday to Tuesday.
Yeah.
Every week.
Yep.
For years.
Yes.
When you have kids, you got to kind of calm things down and refocus it. So we moved to Canada, and I met two partners who were developing a product. It was a nightlight for their kids. One of the partners had a lot of experience manufacturing overseas. The other partner was an amazing artist who used to illustrate for Marvel. And so we pulled the idea together and started pitching the product to retail. We were able to get into Canadian retail first. It was literally a soccer ball nightlight on the wall. It looked like it was breaking through the wall. It came with a decal sticker. And it was awesome. It was a fun product. And so my job was to develop the sales and marketing side of the business. And we were able to grow the business pretty aggressively. Through a partnership, we were able to grow and raise funds by selling part of the company to Canada's largest housewares distributor. They really helped us with the funding and getting our first Marvel license.
So let's kind of dive into that experience a little bit, because you had met these two guys. One was manufacturing, one was the artist. You're like, cool, I'm going to complete that triangle in sales and marketing. How did you guys get into Canadian retailers?
Well, funny enough, the cliche, fake it till you make it, we literally started producing mock-ups.
Yeah.
We would take a soccer ball, cut it in half, and mock it up on a board to take it into retail. When we were working towards the licensed, we would take a product that already existed in the market, an Iron Man mask or a Thor hammer, and we would cut it in half and stick it to the wall just to paint the picture.
Yeah.
Just to sell the dream, if you will, to the retailers of what the product could be.
Didn't even have distribution at this time.
We had nothing.
Nothing. Just an idea and a mock-up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a patent.
Right.
And
okay, so you had the patent.
That was big. Well, that through the process, we were able to patent the product as a utility patent. And when you start going into retail with a unique idea and you have a patent to back it up, you become the only game in town.
Yeah.
Because nobody else can impede on that patent. We were presenting the idea in that sense. We got our first PO from Walmart, a $50,000 PO. No idea how we were going to fulfill it.
Now I need money.
Yeah, now we got to make it, right?
Yeah.
We faked it, now we got to make it.
Yeah.
So we found, through partnerships and relationships, we found a distribution company who happened to be Canada's largest houseware company. And they sold into all the major retailers. They were doing $300 million a year.
Yeah.
So they had the cash that we needed. They had the distribution that we needed in Canada, and they had the relationships. So we sold off half the company and said, no problem. It's worth it for us to get that market penetration if we've got the funds and stuff to back it up.
Yeah.
And they introduced us to Target in the U.S. And Target said, if you can get a Marvel license and those mock-ups can actually be real and you actually think you can do that, then we're in. And that really, the snowball effect.
Yeah.
Once you have the Marvel license, then Disney wants to be involved, and then Star Wars wants to be involved.
Yeah.
Because Disney didn't own Star Wars at the time. And it parlays it to Universal and Warner Brothers, and then you get all the entertainment companies who want to be involved. So it's exciting. And now you have targets to hit because you have royalty commitments and all these other
Well,
things.
you've sold, so what is it, 50,000 units? And you got to produce that now.
Exactly.
So how did you, I have so many questions.
Yeah.
How did you get the deal with Marvel? These are not just companies that are around the corner that you can say, hey, can I have your distribution?
Yeah, I think when it comes to Marvel and getting the license, it really came down to tenacity. Picking up the phone, calling the directory in Marvel, going through the licensing department. Like just Danny Kim was the guy who was able to finally pick up the phone. And
Good old Danny Kim. Shout out to Danny Kim.
Yeah, he brought us in and said, listen, I really like what you guys are doing. We'd love to support you in this. It's $1 million. We're like, what? They're like, yeah. $1 million.
We have to produce products. I can't give you.
It was $1 million.
Yeah.
Was the Marvel license.
Yeah.
Up front, guaranteed.
Yeah.
And
just for Marvel.
Just for Marvel.
Okay.
And that partner that we had brought on was really instrumental in having that cash flow.
Housewares.
The housewares partner,
Mm-hmm.
who gave us the opportunity to play in that space. It evolved. It was an amazing run for us, 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Where we were I think at the top of it, we sold the product in 72 countries around the world.
Wow. And it's still in retailers today. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so at this point, you had sold off 50% of your shares to Housewares to get that capital to get you to the next stages of the business. You've got the license from Marvel and growing into Disney, etc. And so did they help you in the process of building your business, or is that something that was still entrepreneurial to do?
Yeah, part of our relationship was they were the money guys and we were the operations.
Got it.
My partner was an artist. That was his focus.
Yeah.
He was amazing at what he did. The operational aspect of it really fell in my hands.
Yeah.
We had to grow. We had to expand. And being able to do that in an industry that I had not experienced before was really fit for me. My mind was always geared towards, it doesn't matter if you've never done it before, you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Listen, learn, talk to people, grow. And these are the things that I learned through that process. Yeah. Eventually, not all business relationships and partnerships end in a fairy tale ending.
Yeah.
But we learned a lot also in contractual law through that process.
Yes.
Because as the business grew, inventory grew, financial liability grew.
Yeah. And now you're sitting on a lot of inventory.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, so there was a clause in our agreement that at some point, a shotgun clause it's called, that our partners, the joint venture, could be purchased by one party or the other. And we had become so heavy in inventory that we weren't able to execute our end of the shotgun clause. So we ended up exiting the business. And then the Housewares company took it over and continued, which is part of business, right? Part of learning kind of the crux of how things work. Like I said, it was an amazing experience and really happy, to be honest, to have exited the business when I did, because it parlays itself into the next opportunity.
So that being one of the biggest lessons that you learned in business is contract. Tell us how the shotgun claw works and what can you tell listeners to be really aware of when you're on this growth trajectory. You're in a good place, you own your own business, you have finance partners that are helping you get to where your business wants to go. And then in the drop of a dime, the shotgun clause did not work in your favor. Walk us through that.
Yeah, it's not just specifically about the shotgun clause. I think the lesson that I learned most from the process is being really mindful of the growth trajectory of the business and inventory. Inventory is a scary thing.
Yes.
It can kill you, right? Understanding the evolution of the business and the pace in which you grow. When it comes to a shotgun clause, the joint venture, the way it was written, as I understand, it was a 5-year mark. That 5-year mark is designed to say, hey, is this partnership still working? Are both parties still happy? And if one party wants to exit out for any reason, they can make an offer for the exit.
Yeah.
Saying, we want to be bought out for X dollars. And if the other side decides not to execute that side of it, then they can pull the trigger on that. I think reading the fine print, knowing who you're doing business with, again, absolutely no hard feelings about that process. It's part of it. We had a great run. Ultimately, they had a stronger position in the business because they were holding the cash.
Yeah.
And so that's part of understanding who your partners are, right?
So what happened in that deal?
So they ended up purchasing the business for $1 and $9 million of inventory.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've got to be joking me. And you are probably one of the only people that can really see the good out of that situation. You've invested so much time. You get the learning experience. I get all of that. But now you've sold your baby for $1.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was quite life-changing from a career perspective.
Yeah.
Not only getting the opportunity to learn a completely different industry, but when we were growing that brand, marketing was critical.
Yeah.
Right? It was a brand new concept, a patented product, a nightlight like nobody you've ever seen before. So you have to re-educate your consumer on what the nightlight is.
Yeah.
At that time, you could buy a Marvel licensed branded nightlight that plugged into the wall for $2.99. And we were about to launch a product that was $30.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
How do you educate the consumer that our product has so much more value from the same license?
Yeah.
So when we did that, we went to a bunch of agencies in Toronto and said, here's what we want to do. New company, new brand, new product idea. We need to make an impact. And they told us, listen, it's digital marketing. It was just kind of coming up. Digital marketing was just becoming much more relevant in the space. And they said we need to be visible online, digital ads, and we're estimating $250,000 a quarter in order to make the impact. We're going to drive 100,000 people to your website in the next 12 months. We're going to help with your retail sales, everything. That's another $1 million. That could be put towards a new license, that could be put towards inventory, that could be put towards manufacturing. So I said, listen, I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to learn this digital marketing thing they're talking about. So I dove in and looked through how to speak to the consumer in a digital space. How to market them, how to solve a problem for them. And solving the problem that really put the consumer first, providing value. And so I was able to actually produce 400,000 visitors to the website over the course of that 12-month period for $40,000. Fraction of what they were going to charge. As I exited the business, that was my new passion. Is why are companies not taking advantage of this? They feel like they can't. They feel like it's too expensive. They can't afford digital marketing. Why? Because they're talking to large agencies who are marking up the cost per click. They've got big overhead. And for me, owning every part of every business that I've been a part of, when it comes to the execution, it's very important. You have to understand what energies are going into each aspect of the business. And so as I exited the 3D lighting business, my focus turned to helping small business, teaching people through the execution of getting them online and building their presence and making brand impact, teaching them how to do it, how to execute at a fraction of the cost, and having ownership to better understand what the consumers are seeing. The best part of digital marketing, as opposed to radio or television, is the data collection. You get to see how your consumers are engaging, or your prospects are engaging with your messaging and your product offering. And by being able to teach a small business, regardless of industry, how to do that is what I love.
So we'll get to that in a second, because the through line is really wanting to help people at the end of the day. So you really took what you learned in the entertainment industry and that space of getting to know consumers, getting behind the psyche of the consumer, what makes them tick, what makes them buy, and you translated that and taught yourself that into the digital space. That's incredible.
I think that's important. As a business owner with a product or a service, you are a problem solver. That's me in a nutshell. I love solving problems. It's what drives me. Put an issue in front of me and I'm going to find a way.
So that problem solving and helping people, where do you think that comes from?
Honestly, I had a personal experience when I was 21 years old that I think really cemented for me always trying to help people along the way, because you never know when that opportunity might be gone. At 21, my sister, who was 14 months younger than I was shot and killed by her boyfriend. I was really focused on growing my career, and I just moved to Miami and had my blinders on, and there was a lot going on at home that maybe she could have used more support from her brother on. I maybe lost sight of that relationship a little bit and was just very focused on growing my career. The reality check of life is very short, and not having the opportunity to help as much as I could maybe rewired me a little bit in a sense that says yourself second, always. Be on the lookout for somebody who needs help, and it doesn't have to be as dramatic as help as that. If you can improve somebody's experience, their life, you never know how an interaction can change somebody, right? In a really positive way. So I think that's something that has kind of stuck with me a little bit. Just be mindful of the people that are around you, and that translates to consumers, but also people, right? At the end of the day, life's short, and if you can help somebody and improve their experience, why not?
What an experience to go through in your early 20s that really shaped and took a pause on, wow, what am I doing all of this for? So
definitely,
that must have been very impactful for you.
Absolutely. Losing a family member it's life-changing.
That was incredible, Barry. I think that was something very monumental that you went through, and that really helped shape and change you?
After the 3D Light Effects, focusing on the digital marketing, helping small businesses, helping startups, it really became my passion and my focus.
Yeah.
Every marketing situation is a challenge. Everybody's a little bit different. Reaching consumers is a little bit different. And so that was an opportunity for me to work towards the problem-solving aspect of what I do, helping small businesses. I love working with mom and pops.
Yeah.
I love working with businesses with modest budgets. Not everybody has $10,000 or $15,000 to drop on an agency to make an impact. And understanding through my experience with 3D Light Effects that regardless of budget, you can make an impact.
Yeah.
In some form or fashion. In the digital space, there's so many opportunities that can be leveraged at no cost. Really developing a brand story.
Yeah.
I think there's so much digital marketing noise out there.
Yes.
I had this conversation with a friend and client of mine recently. Every day he sends me a new funnel offer or a new, I can 10x your business if for this much.
It is so hard.
There's so much out there.
Yeah.
And I think not only business owners, but especially entrepreneurs are being stifled by all these things.
Like suffocated. Yeah.
Because when you look at this, you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to spend 20 grand, but he can 10x my business. Well, what if my business is only 10 grand a year right now?
Yeah.
How am I going to spend 10 or 20 grand?
And also, what are the next operational steps?
Well, I think that's where people get, like you said, paralyzed.
Yeah.
Is that you're like, I'm not ready to spend 10 grand. And even if I have 10 grand, is my business ready for that spend? And I think that noise starts to distract and really keep great businesses from growing with a sense of knowledge. And what I mean by that is to pay a marketing company or to pay a marketing advisor and not really understand all of the building blocks that are required. They're actually doing them a disservice by offering that at that stage. And I don't think that there is no shortcuts.
Yeah.
There is no easy way.
I agree.
I'll use another personal story when it comes to that. My wife and I actually just opened a spa.
Yes, in Burlington. Spa Vidosa.
Spa Vidosa. You know, growing social media is part of it, right? You have to be active in that space. Fortunately, with my digital marketing background, guiding and supporting my wife in the growth of the business, there's a tremendous amount of noise and distractions for small business owners and entrepreneurs right now. My wife experiences it all the time, right? The amount of people now that are reaching out to her organically to help grow the business at huge price tags.
Yeah.
Right? It's a startup. It's a small business. And fortunately, I'm able to guide and support her with the knowledge and experience that I have. But you have to be really able to focus on what makes your brand or your product different and find a way to get that voice out.
Yeah, and it's so true. People who start businesses, I don't care if you're a small business owner, medium-sized business owner, or large business owner, you are inundated with people selling you shit all the time.
Yep.
You need this, and your business is this, and your business, and they're not taking a holistic view on the business. They're just offering you a service for a slice of, but how does that impact other parts of your business? They're not properly diagnosing that.
Not only that, but I think when you look at young entrepreneurs who are looking to grow businesses, the generation after us is instant gratification driven.
Right.
That's what these funnels and this 10x and all of these buzzwords that are being used to target small new businesses or startups or consultants, coaching clients, whatever it is. The problem is that it's not instantaneous. There is no 10x switch that you can flip. It takes hard work. It takes preparation. It takes knowledge. It takes experience. When you're looking to grow a business, there has to be patience.
For sure. And steps, right?
Steps.
Absolutely. I think you bring up a really good point there, because when you sign on that dotted line to become an entrepreneur, nobody tells you what these steps are, right? And it's so overwhelming at times, and it's so isolating and just a very lonely journey for entrepreneurs. And so that's why I wanted to create this podcast, was offer the successes, the journey, the mistakes that people have made. So we all, no matter what experience you're experiencing in your life, that people don't have to walk through it alone.
Yeah. And as an entrepreneur or somebody with an entrepreneurial spirit, you can't help yourself. You're driven in that direction.
Yeah.
So you're going to face those things. Being able to overcome those feelings of anxiety and stress, there's nothing more gratifying for an entrepreneur to be like, I did it. Right? And not being afraid to bring in partnerships and not being afraid to ask for help and look for resources. There's a tremendous amount of people who want to support and who want to see people succeed, providing value first.
My favorite question to ask male entrepreneurs, because you're a dad, and so how does working and being a father, how do you balance that?
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
I think remembering as an entrepreneur, remembering what the end goal is. The end goal of being a business owner is to, and it's a bit of an oxymoron. Why do I want to be a business owner? So I have more freedom. Why do I want more freedom? So I can spend more time with my family, right? The reality is, as a business owner, a lot more falls on you.
Yeah.
So finding a balance from the very beginning is critical. And I think the most important thing to do with that is just to develop structure.
The reasons why I ask this question is because a lot of people ask female entrepreneurs this. So I want to challenge that with asking men.
Yeah.
How do you balance fatherhood and work? And because you're a very involved dad, you're a dad of 2, how do you manage it? And what do you teach your kids through business? Right.
I think my kids are very aware of the multiple businesses and things that I've done along the way, including them in the conversation. So they understand what's going on and even the challenges. I think there's an opportunity to teach kids at a very young age that you're not going to win every deal. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be problems that you need to approach, and problem solving. I would say, to answer your question a little bit more directly, I would say as I evolve in my career and in businesses, I try to educate my kids about my journey as well. I think as a father, you have a responsibility to guide and protect. And so if I can allow them to have a glimpse into the challenges that I experience as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, those are little crumbs that maybe they may learn and gain to avoid in their lives in the future. I also think instilling a sense of hard work is really important. My kids' generation is one of take then provide. And again, it's
that's that instant gratification thing you were talking
right?
about.
They're like, what do you mean we can't have it now? And it's like,
well, we have to wait for a commercial? What's that?
Exactly. What is a commercial? Because now they're on commercials as an interruption to a YouTube video.
Yes. As I remember, our day was, we have to wait for Scooby-Doo, which comes on Monday at 5 o'clock.
Exactly, right? So, very different. I think that trying to teach them pace, and also teach myself. I love the activities that my kids do because it gives me an opportunity to take a step back and take a break too and engage with them on their activities, whether it's a school activity or sports. There's opportunities for me to take a deep breath and allow being a father to force me to shut the business mind off a little bit. I think that's really critical for me.
What's the biggest thing fatherhood has taught you?
Patience. I haven't learned it completely.
I feel that.
I haven't learned it completely up to this point, but it's the one thing that's required the most.
Oh my goodness. That is a fact. All right. So I usually like to end the session with some rapid fire questions to get to know the CEO. Would you say that you are a introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert.
Extrovert?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
You think?
You think?
Barry and I are actually very similar people.
Yeah.
It's like I'm looking at a mirror, really. Are you a city or countryside person?
Oh man, this is tough.
This is a good question.
I know this
for
is supposed to be rapid fire, and I apologize for the elongated answer.
No, you're good.
I love the pace, and I love the intensity of the city.
Yeah.
But especially after spending time working in Calabogie, developing our land up there in our subdivision.
It's nice.
The peacefulness of it, the calm is also great. I would say I'm probably more on the city. Yeah. But there's a part of me that really wants to disappear into the country.
Oh, me too. It's the dream. What's your go-to comfort food?
I'm a big gin guy. End of the day, for me, it is essential. Gin, for sure.
Your comfort food is gin.
Yes.
That's amazing, right? What gin comes from?
Botanicals. Juniper berry.
So basically a vegetable.
Plants. Exactly.
Basically
I'm a big plant guy.
Would you call yourself resourceful or lucky?
I'm very resourceful.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be where I'm at today without luck.
Do you think so?
Absolutely.
What do you think luck has a part to play?
I think there are things in life that need to fall in place without your involvement.
Yeah.
And I think you can utilize your resourcefulness, always have your net wide open and allow things to come to you. But ultimately, the universe sometimes hands you what you need or deserve in the moment.
Yeah.
I think that luck plays a part in that.
Yeah, I believe that too. You're always served the lessons where you're meant to be served in a time where it challenges you, but also forces you to really kind of
Pivot.
think. Yeah, very true. What's your favorite way to relax after a long day?
I love music. I love the blues. The nice, chill, calm blues playlist.
Nice.
With some gin.
With some gin. With your favorite comfort food.
With my favorite comfort food.
Amazing. Well, Barry, thank you so much for coming on the Fearless Entrepreneurs podcast. You can find Barry at C2S Digital Marketing, which we'll link in the show notes, as well as Elevate Bluffs, where you can see him develop this 230-acre oasis in Calabogie, Ontario. You are the true definition of a serial entrepreneur. So we thank you. I've learned so much from your journeys, and really just that tenacity and perseverance can help you pivot and chameleon. And what's so great is that at the root of all of that, all you want to do is just help people.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fearless Entrepreneur podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. For more insights and resources to help your business grow, visit evolveconsultingco.com. Let's continue to turn entrepreneurial dreams into reality. Hang around for our next episode where we feature another bold Canadian entrepreneur. Until next time, stay fearless.